Welcome back to another Inside Lansing, where today's guest is the Mayor of Lansing, Mayor Patty Eidam. Mayor, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for inviting me, Neil.
So I want to just jump right in and talk about 2020, and we're talking about basically the COVID-19 pandemic, and that kind of hit not just everybody hard, but it hit the village pretty hard as well. And I thought maybe we could just talk a little bit about how you were able to handle the situation and how the village responded to the pandemic.
It's been difficult, Neil. We at the village realized early on in March that some of our biggest concerns would be the health and safety of our residents and our employees. And we did move very quickly to make sure that those that live and work in Lansing were protected by following the guidelines set in place by the governor's office. We found it necessary to close the municipal center and several other village offices for several weeks, but we made sure that the lines of communication to us from our residents were opened at all times. I'm actually very proud of the way that the village of Lansing has remained positive through the pandemic, and they took it very seriously. And I look forward to us trying to remain positive and safe as we get through the end of this.
I like that you keep saying the term positive, because one example of positivity during that time was events like Shine a Light on Lansing and some birthday surprises. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what those events are like and why have them?
The parades of celebration, Neil, were actually not an idea that came from within the village. Our residents obviously were also finding creative ways to celebrate things. When we started getting requests from our village residents to help them celebrate things like anniversaries, birthdays, even graduations, we did the best that we could to accommodate them. Our public works, police, and fire departments sent trucks to the parades to participate as much as they could. My husband and I participated in several of the parades, and it was great to see our residents be able to celebrate during phase 3 and watch them smile, even if it was from a distance. We coordinated Shine a Light on Lansing in the beginning stages of the pandemic to feature our local restaurants that were closed to customers but were still preparing food for takeout. So we asked our residents to put on their porch lights and light candles to show their community pride and to show their support for our local healthcare workers and our first responders. We encouraged our residents on that evening to order takeout from a local restaurant and then share their pictures with the village of them eating by candlelight. It was a hugely successful event and very much appreciated by our local eating establishments.
We took part in that as well here at the station, and we had a nice little video about it. So that was something that we were very excited to take part of. And talking still about COVID-19, when it began, one of the things that we immediately did as O&N was we helped you produce a few videos for the village. That was something that your office wanted to do, so
Yes.
we came in and took care of it. Maybe you could talk about why you wanted to do that.
It was very difficult for all of us, Neil, and I so appreciate you and all of the staff here at L&N taking the care and extra effort that you did to produce those videos for us. Early on in the pandemic, we were getting updates daily from local and state health officials and the governor's office. It was all still very new to all of us. And L&N provided another avenue for us to get those daily updates to our residents. It was extremely important for us at the time. And as you may know, in fact, I probably learned from your staff that those videos were some of the most watched videos that you have produced. So it was very, very helpful. I appreciate.
Oh, thank you. It was a great thing to do, and we were really appreciative to just help out and get the information out there. Moving on from the pandemic, maybe we could talk another big thing on 2020 was the census. And Lansing was very involved in that, one of the more involved communities, I believe. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that process and what that was like.
Well, Neil, no one in this country was prepared for the challenges that the pandemic put before our United States 2020 census.
It got pushed back and back, right?
It was so confusing and so complicated. I'm very thankful that our village clerk, Vivian Payne, took on the task of being our local census chairman. She had a committee of 12 residents, and they worked very hard to find every opportunity they could to encourage our residents to participate. It was certainly difficult for them, as well as it was for committees across the nation.
Can only imagine.
It was extremely hard. I did check in with Vivian earlier this week, and she's very pleased with the numbers that she's seeing as far as Lansing residents responding. She thinks that we did well, and as the census comes to a close, we have high hopes that our numbers are going to be as good or better than they were 10 years ago.
That's great, and we hope so too. I mean, it's good positive news to hear that you guys are really involved with that so that we would get the funding that was needed for that. So thank you. Mm-hmm. And just moving on to some other topics, Fox Pointe's another big part of Lansing now that we have to talk about every time you're on, of course. And there's some new additions happening over there right now, so maybe you could tell people what those new additions are.
And it's very possible that our residents don't know about what's happening at Fox Pointe because it's been closed for most of the season for the
Sadly.
obvious reason.
Yeah.
We have used this opportunity, though, to move forward with improvements for Fox Pointe that will help us in the future. We're changing the layout of the concession building to be more efficient, and we're adding an outdoor kitchen so that the future of Fox Pointe will run even more efficiently for events in the future. I'm very excited that we have a new electronic sign going up on Ridge Road, very near Fox Pointe, to announce events that will be happening there.
So you can drive by and see what's coming up?
You can.
That'd be great.
It'll be very, very soon. I'm very excited about some fall and holiday events that we have planned for Fox Pointe. I'm so proud that our staff has come up with ways for us to celebrate autumn, Halloween, and upcoming holidays while staying safely within the guidelines that are still in place because of COVID-19.
Well, we're looking forward to those events, as always. I mean, Fox Pointe has now become kind of a cornerstone for Village of Lansing, so we can't wait to see at least some stuff happen this year and then probably look forward to more stuff in the future.
I think people will be pleasantly surprised with what we have in store for them.
Another thing that happened this year was the Hometown Heroes Banner Program, which is something that you led.
Yes.
Yes. So maybe you could talk a little bit about what that program is, but also how residents might be able to be involved.
Hometown Heroes Banner Program was something that my husband and I actually came up with together. We did a little bit of research before we brought it to the village administration, and they liked it immediately. And several communities around our nation have done similar programs, so you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you just take best practices and move forward.
Just build a better version.
That's right. So our Hometown Heroes Banner Program is still actually in its infancy. People are applying right now to sponsor the banners. It's a great way for our residents and businesses to honor Lansing residents that have served in our United States military. Banners which will feature pictures of local veterans will go up beginning Memorial Day of 2021. And sponsorships are still available. It's $150 to sponsor a banner. And you can get an application at the Municipal Center, or you can find one online on our website. You're right, Neil, the banner program is very near and dear to me. I'm a United States Army veteran. 3 of my brothers are veterans. My dad was. So I'm very, very proud of this. My son and my father-in-law will all actually have banners displayed in Lansing because they were both Lansing residents and they are also veterans.
So you have a very strong connection to veterans and the military.
Yes.
In general from your family.
Yes.
So there's lots of things to talk about this year. One recent thing as well is the new appointment of Leo Valencia to trustee. So why choose Leo? I was just curious, like why did you want Leo in that position?
Trustee Valencia brings a whole new level of experience to our Lansing Village Board. I met Leo several years ago when we were both directors on the Lansing Association for Community Events. In fact, Leo is past president of that organization. He was the charter chairman of our Human Relations Commission that we created in 2018. Leo is also bilingual, which brings a whole new level to our village board. It's a huge asset. I value that. I was extremely pleased that my recommendation of appointing Leo to fill the vacancy on the village board was approved unanimously. I'm looking forward to working with Leo very, very much.
So another event this year I'd like to talk about is one that I actually really enjoyed. I was glad that I could be a part of it because technically I couldn't be there as a guest, but I was able to work it, which was the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, women's suffrage. Could you talk a little bit about what happened at the event and why you wanted to put that on?
It was just another way for us to come up with a new plan to celebrate something that probably would have been done on a much bigger scale had it not been for the pandemic. I actually realized way over a year ago that August of 2020 would be the centennial anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. Such things as a traveling exhibit that would tell the story of over 7 decades of women fighting for the right to be heard. A gathering of all female elected officials from Illinois was to be in Chicago in early August. That and so many other events around the country were canceled. So I refused to give up on our celebration and worked together with our village clerk, Vivian Payne, and Mr. Ken Reynolds, my executive assistant, to come up with a way that we could have a gathering outside the municipal center and still stay strictly within the guidelines of Phase 4, which is where we were at the time. We came up with a guest list that included local and area female elected officials, all of our Village of Lansing full-time female employees, and some other special guests like Mayor Michelle from Calumet City and Cook County Commissioner Donna Moore. I was extremely pleased that Congresswoman Robin Kelly accepted my invitation to attend and was so pleased that she spoke to us with words of encouragement and appreciation about the Village of Lansing. You're right, Neil. It was a very, very unique event, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And thanks to you and your staff here at LNN, you captured it, and we'll always have those memories.
Yeah, I was glad to be a part of it. I could see it was very important to you just hearing you talk about it. So we were glad to be a part of it as well and be able to immortalize that a bit. Last question. I really just want to hear from the mayor of Lansing, Mayor Patty Eidam, how she's doing. 4 years in, and there's a lot that's come from behind, and there's still a lot to look forward to. How has it been going?
It's been very, very interesting, Neil, rewarding, and a time that came to us when I was least expecting some of the challenges. Nobody could have predicted the challenges we've had in the last 4 years, but I'm so proud of what we've accomplished. Many of the goals that we've set, we have achieved. I'm so very, very proud of what our staff has been able to come up with even through all of those challenges. We have come up with creative ways through budgeting and diligently keeping up on grants. We have reinstated our street resurfacing program. Many sidewalks have been repaired. We've started removing the dead trees on our parkways again. Those are things that are very, very important to our residents. I look forward to the street resurfacing program that's going on right now. Our residents are going to be very, very happy about. Even though it's been some challenging times, I'm still very, very happy. I've never been sorry that I made this decision. As many people know, when half of a couple does something like this, the other half is just as involved, and Bud is just as pleased as I am about what we've been able to accomplish for our village. Some of the more enjoyable parts for me have been talking to our residents one-on-one. Sometimes their issue is very big to them, but for us, it's a simple thing that we can help them fix or solve or find a solution for. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to help someone, and it makes their day, it might make their week or their year. I've also valued the interaction that I've had with local organizations such as South Suburban Mayors and Managers. I sit on their transportation committee and their executive board, and it's been great working with them. They help us just as much as we help them, and it's been rewarding working with local elected officials like State Representative Marcus Evans and Senator L.G. Sims. Those are things that are now set in place. We have good relationships with them, and they've helped us through many challenges over the last few years. There's still so much work to be done, as you mentioned. I am planning on running for mayor again in the spring of 2021, if for no other reason than to finish up some of the things that we've started. I need to see some of these things finished.
There's so much more we could probably talk about, but we just want to appreciate that you came in and were able to sit down just for a few moments to let people know what's going on in the village, and we appreciate that. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate you and your staff having me.
And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Inside Lansing.